G'day everyone, welcome to Ruin Season 3, Episode 20. And this is our Round 8 review of the Warriors' bounce-back victory against the Raiders. Hope you're all doing well out there tonight. Thanks for those who are watching us. We're back on Facebook again this week. Apologies for the issues last week, but of course, thanks for you guys watching us across Facebook and YouTube. And before we get into it though, I just want to give a shout out, as always, to our wonderful Patreon subscribers. Your awesome support enables us to bring this visual presentation via Restream, and it's the content that you always enjoy so much. How's it going, mate? It was great to see you again up in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it was great being up there. I'm doing very good. Just want to echo your thanks to our wonderful Patreon subscribers whose support does allow us to do what we do here every week, bringing everyone the best live Warriors content on social media platforms. And just a reminder to everyone that's tuning in tonight, the reason we do the show live is so that you guys can get involved. So all those watching, as we move through the discussion points, join the conversation, leave your comments. Be aware that we do have current and ex-players and their families that watch this webcast. So, please keep your comments respectful and just refrain from making them personal. Yeah, mate, what a great bounce-back win from the boys last weekend. Once again, we had another great day. Game day experience up there at Redcliffe.
Oh, mate, it was. It's a fantastic place, as we always say. Great place to watch footy. Always a great crowd out there. So us, Roo Hammer, and the Stat Warrior, we headed up from the Gold Coast via Redcliffe for a wonderful Saturday afternoon of footy, and we met up with our usual game day crew. So that would be none other than Warrior number 76. Mark Tukey and his partner Rach at the Dolphins Lease Club. And also very fortunate to meet Warrior number 96, PJ Marsh. He was there in Redcliffe with his son Braylon. He was signing a 3-year deal with the Dolphins, so how good's that?
Yeah, wonderful to finally meet him face-to-face, mate. We have spoken to him on the show, obviously, online, and speak to him through messages and texts on social media, but really good to finally meet him face-to-face. Congratulations to young Braylon, who starts his own NRL journey with the Dolphins next season, 3-year contract with them. But what a wonderful person PJ was, mate. Really engaged conversations with him, and he's keen to come on again for another chat at some stage in the future too, saying that he was remembering some stories that he didn't tell last time he was on. So we'll be happy to indulge him again and getting on there. A shout out to PJ too, because he tell us he listens to this as a pod on the podcast. So yeah, PJ, thanks for listening, bud.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're hoping that maybe he'll get there for Magic Round, the Lord Alfred Hotel. Yeah. We're hoping so, but yeah, and we should also mention Warrior 109, Warrior 109, Tony Martin. It was awesome to meet him as well. We've been sort of in correspondence with him for a little while now, and yeah, great to meet him face to face. And to chat with him is pretty awesome. Such a bloke, full of stories as they all are. This is the best part. Another Aussie-based player. He's still a supporter of the club, and still follows the ball. Still looks back really fondly on his time in New Zealand.
Mate, that's for me. That's one of the best accolades our club can be given. That these Aussie players that played for multiple clubs like Tukes, Campo, Lucky, Pricey, Tatey, PJ, and Tony Martin, all still fans of the club long after their playing days. And we're so fortunate to be able to have made so many connections with those past players of the club, and we do appreciate every single one of them.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, yeah, there in Redcliffe, we had our exclusive Roo Hammer front row seats, best seats in the house, in our opinion.
Best seats in the house.
And yeah, definitely. And it's great to share the game day experience, as always, with Tukes, Rach, young Riley, Lloyd Whitelaw, and of course the Stat Warrior, Sean, and your old schoolmate, Stu, was there with us for the NRLW Grand Final early in the month. So we're hoping to convert him to Warriors fan, aren't we? He's looking for a club, isn't he?
He's looking for a club, mate. He's not. He's ever since the Bears were kicked out. He's still a fan of rugby league, but he doesn't have a club. So living in Queensland, if we can get him along to a couple of these Redcliffe games, I'm sure we can convert him to a Warriors supporter, because he was cheering hard for the boys on the
weekend. Into it, wasn't he? Yeah. It was a perfect game for it. So So if you ever want to experience a Warriors game, a true Warriors game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Once again, it's a great level of friendship with the players. They make the effort to come and say hi to us and have a chat, and that's definitely something I take for granted. It's fantastic to have been able to make those connections with players past and present.
Yeah, mate. You think back to how we used to watch games of footy. It's still quite surreal that this is our normal game day experience now. And shout out to guys like Josh Curran, Dallin, Aaron Penne, Pride Pedersen, Rabati, Ed Cozzy, and Garrett Smith, who we all call pre-game. And then we're able to catch up quickly with Robbo, Campo, who's watching tonight. Hey, Campo, how are you? Jazz, Big Benny Murdoch, Masilla, the merch, Stacey Jones, Brownie, Cam George, and of course the club debutant, Ozzy. We caught up with him post-game as well. So we appreciate all those connections. It was good to be able to use our connections to help our good mate, the Warriors NRL fanatics, fulfill a wish to meet some of the players and get his photo taken. It was kind of like watching a kid in a candy store, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. His reaction to meeting the players, in particular, Stacey Jones, was priceless. It was great. Just back to Dejan Ozzy. We were lucky enough to catch up with him and some of his family after the game. How big is he for a half? Like, he's a big boy in the flesh and such a wonderful, humble young man. And thanks very much to his mum, Tans, for introducing us to Dejan. And, yeah, what an awesome family.
Yeah, they packed out one whole stand on that eastern stand there, I think. And they performed a haka for him at the end of the game, which was quite moving, very fitting. But, yeah, humble young kid. Apparently that was his first NRL 11 games too. So he'd had 10 losses at the Cowboys. Comes to the Warriors and wins a game. So good on him. And just a shout out to everyone that's tuned in tonight too. The Stat Warriors with us, Anthony P. Campo, as I said. Mark Roberts, Christian Catley's here. I think I saw my mum in the before, which is always nice. Jack O'Hare, Mikey Mitchell, Kaiser's Business Adventures have joined us in as well. Loader, Tanya Keane, Lisa Marie. So yeah, thanks to everyone that I can see in the comment section. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate the support.
Yeah, good to see Nigel Phillips, and good to see Stevie Williams in there. He's always keen to talk basketball, and yes, I did enjoy that first round win against the Hawks and against the Sixers, but there's a long way to go in this NBA season. So unfortunately, your Lakers aren't there, but can't win every year. All right, we shall get into the game. And Warriors 21, Raiders 20. The 21 points for the Warriors came for tries from Pompey, Valia, and Aitken. Orshi 4 from 4, and Johnson with the all-important field goal and golden point. The Raiders' 20 points came from Timoko, Young, and Whiten tries. Schneider 4 from 4. And with so many injuries to our half stock, it was announced that new signing Dejan Ozzy would make his club debut, and he became Warrior number 260. And as predicted, both Berry and Valia moved from the wings to the centres. Pompey and Arthurs from the centres to the wing, obviously. And in the last of the team changes, Ben Murdoch Masilla came onto the interchange bench, and young Taniela Otokolo, he was relegated to wear the blue bib for the afternoon. Great to see the merch ditch the bib.
It was good to see the merch ditch the bib, and shout out to Chanel as well. Knowing his ruptured testicles, unable to play for a couple of weeks, mate.
Ouch, ouch.
Just thinking back to that Melbourne game, when it happened in that Melbourne game, I know I'm digressing a little bit, but for him to play on a full 45 minutes with a ruptured testicle, it's just absolutely insane. It's nuts, pardon the pun. But how he did that, I got no idea, because I would have been a crying mess if I had ruptured a testicle. Flick a testicle when you're in all sorts of pain. So ruptured.
Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous. Onto the game. So the Raiders kicked off to start the game, and it was 50 game of Bailey Sirinen with the first carry of the game. A poor pass from Egan to the debutant resulted in ball being dropped. Cheap turnover of possession in the first set, and unfortunately that was something that was going to become a familiar problem. The Warriors as the game went on. Our second and third sets, we saw some good touches from our left edge of Aitken, Villiers, and both sets finished with good kicks from Ozzy and Johnson. The Warriors give away an early penalty, which allowed the Raiders to get out of their half, a set restart, and just the sheer weight of possession to the Raiders set up the scoring with a pretty easy try to Matt Tomoko, his left edge, and the Raiders took a pretty early 6-0 lead in that one.
Yeah, and then the Raiders, they completed their set after points, and he beat a couple of defenders on kick return and made a good run upfield and earned a penalty for the Warriors. But then AFB with the drop ball in the ruck on tackle 2 with the turnover of possession. And then a failed challenge on the play burns our captain's challenge early in the game. Way too early in the game. And he, with some poor self-discipline, compounds the result, and he gave away a penalty for back-chatting. And then for the penalty that gave the Raiders a great opportunity inside the Warriors 20, but some good goal line defence, first from Aitken, and then Ozzy denies the Raiders further points there, luckily.
Yeah, and when we did hold the ball and completed our sets, we were making some good meters upfield, particularly AFB in the middle and Aitken on that left edge. The problem was discipline. Every time we kicked and had a 20 or 30 metre zone, we just gave away cheap penalties for holding down in the ruck and just gifted the Raiders an easy out and an opportunity to start their sets in good ball position. Adam Elliott for the Raiders was the player who looked the most dangerous because of his great field position. He ran well out dummy half, picked up some big meters. He actually went close to scoring after finding a huge hole in Jazz Tabunga and Wagon, but he brought down first by Walsh and then Aitken and Ozzy finishing off the tackle, which pretty much saved us from more points being scored at that point.
Yeah, and our ill discipline was becoming a huge problem, and the Raiders, once again, they got a penalty inside our zone, and luckily this time they opted to take the 2 points on for an extended lead to 8. It was also a point. There's probably a few more. Probably lucky they didn't go to 12-14. So 5-2 penalty count, though, against us in the opening 16 minutes, and that coupled with turnover of possession, it was really becoming a problem so early in the contest.
Yep.
Highlight of the opening 16 minutes for the Warriors was the way in which Ozzy fitted straight into the team, though, and he knew his role. And Matt Lodge was really effective with his carries. He made good meters. He poked his nose through the line every time. He landed, crucially, on his hands and knees for that quick play of the ball almost every time.
Yeah, it's a feature of Lodge's game, and we've spoken about this in depth, obviously, in just our private conversations when we talk about the game. But, yeah, it is a feature of his game, the quick play of the balls. He's really rolled onto his back. He's a big unit, which allows the quick play of the ball. And that's why Lodge and AFB complement each other as starting front rowers, because Lodge with his quick play of the balls, whereas AFB's strength is his contact meters and drawing defenders into him.
Yeah.
On the Warriors' next set, the Warriors with another turnover possession. This time it was Walsh. But on the very next set, Walsh gets up a dangerous tackle from Jack Whiten with a penalty given. Whiten placed on report. And at the time, I thought he was quite lucky to stay on the field, considering, 2 nights before or the night before, what was his name? Mad Dog Lawton had been sent off.
Yeah, there wasn't much difference in that from that resulted in Mad Dog Lawton getting sent off for Manly on Friday night game. So Whiten very lucky to remain on the field. But from the penalty, though, the Warriors were able to get good balls set in the Raiders' half. But once again, we turned the ball over cheaply. This time, it was a wayward pass to Johnson for no one that just went straight over the sideline. And we earned a reprieve, though, on the next set with a Raiders mistake. And a poor pass from Rapana to Kotrick absolutely gifts us field position on the Raiders line. And the shift to the left finds a good pass from and Aitken, puts Pompey over by the match, and Walshy converts. And that was the Raiders up 8 points to 6.
Yeah. Unfortunately, something of a regular problem for the Warriors in the past few games season. A mistake that set after points happened again with AFB coughing up possession on tackle 1, putting the Raiders on the attack again, and a great ball playing from Adam Elliott creates space, and Hudson Young goes over untouched next to the posts, and the Raiders extend their lead to 14-6. And the Warriors' next set is courtesy of a Raiders knock on. It's somewhat of a nothing set. A good carry puts the Warriors over the halfway line, and Dejan Ozzy on the next play, put a kick that finds the ground and bounces awkwardly for a opener, and Vili Valea there to pick up the ball and dive over for his first NRL try, and the Walsh conversion gets a Warrior within 2 points. I just seen that Ruben Allen Newman's said, I know it's one. Ghazi looks good at first look. Some good kicks, nice pass for Aitken, good little digs at the line, and good speed on the defensive line. Forced that error with a hit Schneider. Promising signs. Yeah, we were really impressed with how he fitted in. And Jacko Harris says Ozzy looks like a first grade and play fullback or centre if required. Yeah, the
versatility.
I think I think he'll feature quite prominently for this year. Now that he's there.
But would you believe it? The set after points, we turned the ball over cheaply again. You wouldn't read about it, hey? This time, Eli Katoa with a drop ball. The Raiders, they go on attack deep inside the Warriors' 20-metre zone, and Joe able to step some lazy defenders, score next to the post, and then that put the Raiders up to 12 for that halftime lead. Warriors with 19 missed tackles in the first half and turning over far too much possession. And it was amazing to only be down by 8 points. It wasn't too bad, really. And we were kind of saying to each other, if we'd been playing Melbourne from last week, it would have been 40, 30, 40, 50 euro.
Oh, mate, if we had been playing anyone but Newcastle or the Raiders, I probably would have been a lot of points scored. No, Ozzy is not signed past 2022 at this stage. It's just till the end of this season. But, watch his space. I'm sure,
exactly.
If he plays well, that they'll be looking to tie him up for a little bit longer. Just on the Raiders, mate, they lost a lot of momentum with both Tapane and Papali'i when were taken from the field. And it's similar to our own change, to our own go forward when Lodge and AFB are off the field together. And I just noticed that for the Raiders, once those two go off, they never really get that intensity back, because the Raiders were so good in the first 2 minutes of that game, and then the remaining 60 minutes they just played with no real intensity whatsoever, which allowed us to get back in the game. I picked up a shoulder injury, prevented him from returning for the second half. No, not a loan player. He's not contracted anywhere else next year. He's not a loan player. He's signed till the end of 2022, and then that's it in relation to Ozzy. Our man, the merchandise. Jack Murphy came into the centres and forced old Rocco out to the wing. And the merch, he had a really good first. Helped the Warriors complete their first set of the second half, which was a rarity in the game.
Yeah, Jesus, good to see him out there. Gutsy pick up from Walsh on his own line to see his next set, earns a penalty for a high shot. And the ensuing set looks promising, but a tip-on play from Lodge to Afoa results in a drop ball. And again, we turn over possession cheaply. The next possession set, though, Katoa, he tries to force an offload on tackle 2 inside his own 20-metre line, puts Walshy under pressure. And again, a turnover possession. And we're completing at 12 or 20 at that point of the game compared to Canberra's 20 from 24. And the Raiders, they went on the attack again, but a brutal tackle from Arcee. Great hit on Schneider. Rushing out of the line, forces a knock-on, relieves the pressure off the Warriors.
For a little while, but then Matt Lodge is and put on report for leading with his forearm. Something Big Nas does without ever being analysed down in Melbourne. And Blocker, in true Blocker fashion, calling for Lodge to be sent off in his commentary. At the time, from where our vantage point, where we were sitting, it looked like he'd just spun around and it was an accident. Looking at the replay, I think penalty efficient. He did lead with his forearm, not so much the old. But like I said, when Nas or Jared Warrior-Hargraves do it, it seems to be okay. That penalty put the Raiders back on the attack again, but great defence and light speed on for Schneider to rush his kick going long and giving the Warriors a tackle set. But another error, and the Warriors were unable to complete another set. We then got back-to-back penalties and start a set inside the Raiders' half. But a wayward SJ pass, and it's something he seems to do at least once a match now, with that long lofted pass where he tries to cut out and pick an outside man. It's nearly picked off by Xavier Savage. Luckily knocked on, because if Savage had caught that, no one would have caught him. And that probably would have put the nail in the coffin for the Warriors for the game.
Would have been goodbye. 20 minutes to go now. This was the crucial period in the game. Big Benny Murdoch-Masila, he's injected into the fray, and he immediately lifts the intensity, facing off Joe Tarpany, and it earns the Warriors a penalty. But Ben goes from hero to villain in 2 plays later with a lost ball in the ruck, and didn't they fire up after that one, the Raiders boys? It was at this point that we both kind of commented about how little involvement Sean Johnson had in the game at that point, and basically just involving himself to kick at the end. So, you know, we're saying, like, he needs to run the ball a bit more and take on the line, and that must have stung him into action, because a charge down from the Raiders gave the Warriors a repeat set, and Wade Egan, a great dummy half run, finds space on left edge, and Rapana shoulder charge, forces the ball loose, and as expectation, no penalty given, which is amazing considering what's to come. And then Johnson finally runs the ball on the next set. Not many meters, but a left and right foot step is enough to get the crowd excited and put the Raiders' defense on notice. The very next play, Ewan Aitken is put through a gap by Ozzy. Great ball, converted try, and has Warriors back within 2 points. And then from that point on, as we said, Johnson is visibly more active and definitely more vocal. He puts up a bomb to finish the Warriors' next set, and that is dropped by Rapana and earns the Warriors 6 more tackles on the Raiders' line. And then the signature, almost winding the clock back there, Johnson with a bit of footwork finds space and dives over to score, but it went straight up as a no try, of course, only to have the try denied by the bunker. Big BMM obstructing Tom Starling there.
Even the commentators in there, like when I watched the game back, obviously, the commentators in their commentary said that Murdoch-Masila really had no issue on Starling. Starling still got to Johnson, and Johnson pushed him off. So he had ample opportunity to make that tackle. But the rule's pretty black and white. And Benny running through, and he made contact. So, you know, penalty given. But, tough one. From that point, though, the game went into a bit of real wrestle with neither team getting much of an advantage over the other. The Merch with a strong hit to force an error, and then Vallejo with a drop ball, and then an attempted 40-20 from Ozzy going out on the full. We kind of had everything in that 5-6 minute period, and that was really the only blemish in an almost perfect debut from Dejan Ozzy. But with the Warriors on the attack, Matt Lodge is hit high by Corey Horsburgh. That is initially not ruled on by the referee, but the Wiley Lodge stays down. The bunker intervenes and deems the hit high enough, awarding the Warriors a penalty, which enabled Walsh to level up the scores at 20-20 and sending the game into golden point. And then the Warriors kick off to start point. A forward pass from Starling to Horsburgh. Horsburgh in everything at this point. Puts the Warriors on the attack inside the Raiders half, and then Johnson is able to ice the game by stepping around Horsburgh to slot a field goal for Warriors to remain undefeated for season 2022.
And had us all in raptures. It was, I mean, Golden Point is like the Bermuda Triangle, has been the Bermuda Triangle for us. So it's just been awesome to be there and see a couple of Golden Point wins and just get the job done. And that's the experience that SJ brings to the side now.
Well, we've been talking about it, haven't we? Last year, we lost 3 Golden Point games. We lost 6 games by less than 6 points. This year, we've won, 2 Golden Point games. And really, we had no business beating the Tigers when we were down to 12. So the competition's that close that we could actually be 1 from 7 at the moment, whereas we're sitting 4 from 4. So, it's just really interesting, isn't it, that we've got a player that can get those close wins for us that we didn't have last year.
Yeah, it's just invaluable. You could feel it building, though, towards Golden Point for the duration of that second half. The Raiders, they just lost all momentum, and the Warriors, amazingly, were able to just stay in the fight and hang in there, and we were able to wear them down. And when we look at the game stats as well, the Raiders, they had all the attacking stats in their favour, but through resilience, the Warriors managed to keep themselves in the game despite all the errors and the possession rate and a lack of possession to take it to Golden Point, as you can see there. 50,
absolutely ridiculous.
59%, yeah. Yeah, you're not going to win too many games with 59% completion rate, so
No.
take those. Post Raiders, they a lot more meters as well, and you could see it at the game. They were just surging upfield, as we noticed the last few weeks. Like our yardage is just struggling a little bit. They had sort of a bit more size in the outside backs as well.
Yeah.
And errors, I mean, they were just as bad as us when you look at that. 17 to 18, that's still a lot of errors. Yeah, so Matt Lodge was very good for us in this game, and it was his efforts that would have earned him player of the match points, except for the fact that he gave away some penalties in a couple of crucial parts of the game. Wade Egan was very good, played the 83 minutes and running a lot on behalf, and as usual, his defense was rock solid in the middle. Dejan Ozzy, a dream debut for the Warriors, controlled the play well, involved himself in the game, and came up with some great defensive reads and assists as well. So well done to him. But our Taurius player of the match goes to Ewan Aiken. Absolute. He's very strong in all areas of his game, and he's transitioned really well into that back row. It's been seamless for him.
Yeah, he has, mate. So, yeah, we Aiken with a 3, Ozzy with 2, Wade Egan with 1 point, and that brings the Roo Hammer 2022 player of the season current standings with Josh Curran still leading the way on 11. Adam Fanua-Blake and Ewan Aiken now, after his man of the match performance, is slotted into third on 6 points. And with cut for a couple more weeks yet, it's a chance for some of these guys to take that lead from him. Another Fanua-Blake or a couple from Aiken, and could see them up in that spot. Mate, let's go around the grounds, have a look at the other games from round 8. Thursday night, we had the Broncos and the Sharks. The Broncos 16, Stags, Farnworth, Capewell tries. Reynolds 1 from 2, Stags 1 from 1. Over the Sharks 7, Moylan a try, Hines 1 from 1 and a field goal. Mate, in this one, the Broncos took the field 1-7 as listed. However, the Sharks welcome back club captain Wade Graham. First game of the season. He started from the bench. And with Dale Finucane ruled out, that made Cam McInnes again started at 13. All the talk leading up to this game was the battle between Stags and Talakai. The early battle didn't disappoint with both taking up the challenge, but I think Stags ended up with the points at the end of the game. And he really handled the bigger Talakai very well, possibly played himself into an Origin jersey in that one. It was a pretty even game, particularly in the opening 20 minutes before any points were scored. Both teams, toe for toe, enjoyed some good possession, but it was Matt Moylan with a little grubber who opened up that scoring for the Sharkies. Stags got the first of the Bronx with a power run that stood up Talakai and then beat your mate Pre-Jack with the strength to tie up the scores. And Nico Hines with a field goal right on the stroke of half-time's got that Sharks, that 7-6 half-time lead. Mate, the Broncos in the second half, they're just able to build pressure early in the early stages. They turned pressure and points with tries to Capewell and Farnworth. The Sharks struggled to turn their possession into any points, mainly from the defensive pressure the Broncos were able to sustain throughout the match. And the Broncos showing us the blueprint on how to trouble Sharks. Relentless defensive pressure to put Hines under pressure and having to make decisions under pressure. Good win by the Broncos in that one.
It was, and moving to the first Friday night game, the early game at Cbus Super Stadium, that was the Titans taking on the Panthers. Titans, it was an 18 to the Panthers. The Titans 4 points coming from a Marju try. Sexy Sexton missing his only shot. Sorry. The Panthers, Tago, Cleary, and Luai with tries. Cleary 3. The Panthers, they took the field 1-17, and there was just one change for the Titans. Courtney was a late inclusion on the wing for Phil Sami. Panthers were definitely below their clinical best, but the magical boot of Nathan Cleary carried them to that 18-4 win. The Premiers, they made 12 errors and missed 53 tackles, but they were still good enough to turn their first halftime deficit of the season into their 8th straight win. Big Tino, yet a captain's knock for the Titans with 137 metres from 16 powerful runs. Panthers, they had led at halftime in every game this year, and their lowest first half tally before tonight was 12 points. So looking like there could have been an upset on the cards, but straight after Liam Martin, he went on report in the second half for late contact on Will Smith after the Titans' 5-8 hit. The Panthers have now won 8 of their past 9 games against the Titans. And a big blow for the Titans. David Fifita sitting out the final 15 minutes of the game with a knee injury.
Yeah, would he have done anything in that 15 minutes, though? That's a big question. No, he's not playing this week. Are they going to miss his 2 runs? I'm being critical of Big Dave. Yeah.
FTB.
Yeah. Mate, I actually didn't see that game because I was en route on a plane from Sydney to the Gold Coast. So I did land. It was 4-0, and I was kind of surprised. And then by the time I got to Upper Coomera, I did all over at 8-8-4. So, yeah, obviously not a good win by the Panthers, but a win nonetheless.
A win
nonetheless.
Yeah.
The second game on Friday night, the Rabbits hosting the Seagulls. The Rabbits 40. Colomatungi, Johnson, Tass, Burgess, Walker, Murray, Taff tries. Taff 6 from 8 goals, beat the Seagulls 22. Foreign sub, Tui Piloto, Cherry Evans tries, Garrick 3 from 4 goals. The Rabbits named Shaki Mitchell on the bench to make his NRL debut, whilst Manly welcomed back the vibe man Josh Schuster for his first game of season 2022. An interesting start to this game with attack focused around Schuster. Both teams with some early opportunities, but the game was tipped on its literally in the 8th minute when the mad dog Carl Lawton was sent off for a dangerous tackle on Cam Murray. Manly's experienced 3 of Cherry Evans, Trebojevic and Foreign stepped up in the face of City for Manly to score the first try of the match through Foreign and then Saab for an unlikely 10-2 lead. It's back with 2 tries to hit the lead, but the DCE 40-20 something is very good at. Put Manly on the attack just before half-time. And Schuster offload resulted in another Manly, but South hitting straight back to score right on the stroke at halftime for an 18-6 lead. Tom Burgess continued the try scoring for the Rabbits in the second, and then Cody Walker scored in game 150 for him. And the Mounts just starting to struggle and tire, playing a man down. DCE, ever the competitor, chases through a 4 and kick and scores a penalty try to keep Manly in the contest. A spirited effort from Manly to play almost the entire game a man down, and put up a great fight. But in the end, South just able to exploit that man to get a hard-fought win and the 2 points.
Yes, correct. We were the first game on Saturday. The second game, Bulldogs versus Roosters. Huge upset here. Bulldogs 16 over the Roosters 12. Bulldogs 2 tries to Adokara, a try to Ockenbaugh, Burton 2 from 3. Roosters 12 points came from Suwali, Tedesco, and Tupanua tries, and no goals. Our mate AK missing with his 2 shots, and Walker none from 1. A dazzling double from Adokara. The Bulldogs leads the Bulldogs to that upset 16-12 win. They were headed into the game on a 6-match losing streak, and their skipper Josh Jackson, he was sidelined with COVID. The Bulldogs, though, they dug deep to stun the star-studded Roosters outfit. The Bulldogs struck the first blow of the night in the 14th minute when Adokar caught the Roosters' defence napping on the short side. He had a bit of a raid out of dummy half, and he soon had a double as he took an intercept of his own, from 10-metre line, I should say, and he raced 90 metres to touchdown. Bulldogs are up 10-0. Bulldogs blunders, though, early in that second half opened the door for the Roosters to hit back through James Tedesco. He grabbed a 4-pointer, and the margin was back to 2. The Bulldogs 5'8", Matty Burton, he secured his second 40-20 of the season in the 54th minute. His team on the attack, and Matt Duffy delivering a superb lofted pass for Jaden Ockenbaugh to get over and score. And then the Bulldogs bench forward, Billy Takarakis was placed on report for a first half for one of those hip drops on Tupanua. James enjoyed a night out for the Roosters, though. He had 301 running metres, 11 tackle breaks and a try, and his 11th in 9 games against the Dogs. Victor Radley produced a typically wholehearted performance for the Roosters, 26 runs for 164 metres and 33 tackles. They completed just 28 of 43 sets at 65%. Jake Avarillo, he was forced from the field with 10 minutes remaining for a HIA, and Joey Manu channeled a bit of pre-jack there, going off early.
He did.
what he thought was the match-winning try spray. It's like overturned by the bunker. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, that's why you never go off early, eh? Pre-Jake's testimony.
Yeah.
For the Roosters, mate. It could have been three in a row, three losses in a row for the Roosters. Referees in the bunker on their job when we played 3 weeks ago. So yeah, they're a bit of a downward slide. The Roosters, great from the Bulldogs. I guess Gus Gould takes all the credit for that one, having run the show last week.
Well, Trent Barrett just sat there looking pretty, eh?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's end up. Yeah. Mate, if you thought that was an upset, this was a massive upset as far as I'm concerned. The Eels, Cowboys going to Darwin to play. Eels taking their home game to Darwin. Eels 4 try to our mate Hayes Perham. Cowboys 35. Kyle Felt with a treble. Hidden, Tabuai Fido, Drinkwater, tries. Home 6 from 7 goals and a field goal.
You're lucky you kicked that.
Yeah, an epic defensive display and a hat-trick to Kyle Felt steered the Cowboys to a 35-4 win over the Eels. Reuben Cotter and Reece Robson tackled themselves to a standstill. And Kyle Felt snared his 4th hat-trick career, which enabled Chad Townsend to ensure that he would celebrate his 200th NRL style. The Cowboys opened the scoring through a Val Holmes penalty goal and produced some strong defence to keep the Eels at bay before grabbing the first try of the night through Kyle Felt. With halftime approaching, the Cowboys extended their lead after Townsend put pinpoint kick for Felt to leap high and complete his double. Home sideline conversion made it 14-0, and the Star Centre then put the icing on a great first half by nailing a 35-metre field goal to make it 15-0 at halftime. Reuben Cotter, he went the full 80 minutes after being promoted to the starting side with 125 running metres and a massive 55 tackles. Kyle Felt has scored 11 tries in his past 7 games against the Eels and now has, as I said, 4 career hat-tricks. Ryan Madison was probably the best Eels, 210 metres from his 21 runs. And Will Penasini had 3 tackle breaks and ran for 200 metres in another strong display for the Eels. But it's, doesn't matter. All these good stats that guys put in, if you can't get the 2 points, then it's for nothing, really, doesn't it?
That's it, exactly. We move on to Sunday, and we had the Knights versus the Storm. The Knights, 2. No tries. Clifford 1 from 1. And the Storm, 50. Goodness gracious me. Coates 3. Olam 2. Hughes, Munster, Meaney, and Maroa tries. And Pappenhausen, 7 from 10 attempts. And they have just continued to pile on the pain, Melbourne Storm, for a struggling Newcastle, showing no mercy for a second consecutive week to send the Knights to the bottom of the ladder with a 50-2 win at McDonald Jones Stadium. They picked up right where they left off, the hiding they gave us last week, and they ran in 5 unanswered tries in the first half. We had a 26-0 lead against the lackluster Knights outfit, and they produced another really poor showing on their home turf. The Knights made 52 tackles before they eventually touched the ball for the first time in the 12th minute. And that just showed no dominance.
Insane, isn't it?
It's crazy. 52 tackles before we even touched. Knights forward Sarso Sud lasted just 5 minutes before failing a head injury assessment and clashing with the hip of big Nelson Asofa Solomona. Tyson Frizzell, he was placed on report for alleged crusher tackle on Kenny 9th minute. And the Storm stars, Cam Munster, Harry Grant, and Jerome Hughes, all at their creative best to terrorise the Knights' right edge, who had no answers, and they slumped to the bottom of the Telstra Premiership ladder. Melbourne scored another 3 in the second term, with Xavier Coates grabbing another 3 tries after scoring 4 last week, and Justin Olam crossing for a double in the romping win. I thought it was a bit cruel when they were up 48-2 that they decided to take the penalty kick to make it 50. Ruth from the Storm.
I thought it was a bit bizarre when the Knights were down 26-0 and they took a penalty shot to make it 26-2.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great look. I thought the better play was touch and at least try and put up a bomb. And because it just looks a bit silly, 50-2. But anyway, and the 2 points came when you're already down by 26. But anyway,
Yeah,
is what it is. Adam O'Brien's coach under the most pressure now to hold on to his job, though. He's man without answers.
Absolutely, and I actually touch on that in my hot topic a bit later on, mate. The final game of the round, 12 Tigers 6. If you had said this was going to be the game of the round a few weeks ago, people would have laughed at you. But these two teams actually now both playing not too bad rugby league. 2 late tries to Ben Hunt and Jaden Sullivan helped the Dragons secure their 3rd win in a row against the Tigers at Wynn Stadium. Tigers led 2-0 for most of the match before an individual effort from Hunt gave the Dragons the lead. The Tigers lost star 5'8" Jack Bird pre-game to a knee injury, with Talatai Amoni earning another starting opportunity and Sullivan coming onto the bench as a backup utility. Both sides struggle with any real fluency in attack, with errors and ill-discipline killing off any real momentum in the opening 60 minutes, with the West Tigers attack in particular not as sharp as it has been the past 2 weeks. A late try to the Tigers through Luke Brooks kept the game alive, and despite 2 final chances for the visitors to level, the Dragons held on. Dragons forward Josh Maguire placed on report for an alleged hip drop tackle on Luciano Leilua. West Tigers half Jackson Hastings had 24 runs for 174 metres. That's massive for a halfback. We need a halfback that can run like that.
Yes.
And AJ Kapoa for the Tigers made a successful return from an ACL and pectoral injury. He ran 129 metres. Jacko here says Tigers missed Laurie big time. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's have a look at the NRL ladder after 8 rounds. Panthers are still the only undefeated team after round 8. They sit atop of the competition ladder. Melbourne at 2nd place with a huge points differential now, thanks to us and the Knights. The Cowboys are moved into 3rd on for and against, ahead of the Sharks on 4th, 5th. Then there's 6 teams on 8 points. So there's the Rabbits, the Roosters, Manly, and they round out the top 8 with the Broncos, Dragons, and Warriors just outside the top 8 on for and against. And again, thanks to the Storm.
Yep.
For us, there's a 4-point gap to the remaining 5 teams, and that's the Titans, Tigers, Raiders, Bulldogs, and Knights. They're all competition points, and the Knights are there in last place.
They are.
All right, it's time for a bit of a rant. What do you reckon?
Have a rant.
It's time for Roo's rant. And tonight I want to talk about the Walsh decision. So the decision being in inverted commas here. So obviously it was fantastic news, and let's admit it, we were all pretty relieved when Walshy came out this week confirming that he would remain with the Warriors for 23, and he will definitely be moving and living in New Zealand to all of us. And he was forced to respond effectively after constant speculation about his future had dead set gotten out of hand, thanks to relentless media. Even teammates were coming up to him and even asking him, just based on, the hearsay that the media were banging on and on and on about, like, nonstop. He stated that neither he or his management had ever considered any other options at all. So had never even considered any options, had never been approached, had never approached anyone. That didn't stop the NRL 360 clowns, though, from saying that they were surprised by his decision. There was no decision. There never was. He's contracted until the end of 2023, and he has a player option for 2024. So there was no decision. It's not like he decided. He was contracted to the club, and he actually had to come out and say, guys, I'm going to be playing for the club that I'm contracted to. I'm going to New Zealand. And it was getting ridiculous. It's almost like 360 guys are like, oh, this guy, he's clearly too good to be playing for the Warriors. So let's try and get a different team. Let's get him to break his contract. The Dolphins should be getting him to break his contract. How often are we hearing out now? Break contract. It's getting ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. And it's probably end of last year. They're like, oh, he's unsettled at the Warriors and he doesn't want New Zealand. He's never lived in New Zealand. Obviously, He wants to experience living in New Zealand, as he said in his statement this week. So,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
that's part of the allure for him too. Is he's got New Zealand some Māori background, some heritage, and he wants to explore that part of his culture. So yeah, I mean, as you said, mate, there was never. We kept saying this for weeks because he's under contract 2023. He's got an option in 2024. It meant no one could talk to him until 1st of November this year. But they kept saying that he was talking to other clubs, but he's obviously he's not.
I think Dobbo on the radio up here goes, I know for a fact that the Dolphins are talking to Reece Walsh. So I'm saying, well, you're blatantly lying to us because they can't.
Yeah.
And Peter O'Sullivan has that agreement with Warriors about poaching players.
That's right. So. That's right. So yeah, no, it's been a frustrating one. And as you put it mildly, mate, those clowns on NRL 360, there is some sort of agenda there. I think they complain that the Warriors have too many New Zealand-based players in their side, but then when we buy Australian players, they're good Australian players, not journeyman Australian players, but actually talented Australian players. They bring up this narrative that they shouldn't be at the Warriors, that they should be somewhere else, and it's.
They kept saying the same about RTS, like, oh, he's got to leave the Warriors, or so-and-so's got to leave the Warriors. He's got to better his game by leaving the Warriors. Ruben was saying Bulldog Richie leaked it to the media. It doesn't surprise at all. Apparently he started that months ago. Yeah, he does hate the Warriors. And I read somewhere on the NZ Warriors forums as well that it was basically nothing. It didn't come from the club whatsoever, because there was nothing there. It was just something started by the media, and it sort of went from there, and everyone just banged on about it.
Yeah, absolute rubbish journalism from the Australian media and NRL 360 yet again, mate.
All right, mate. Our second weekly segment, Hammer Time. What do you got for us?
Mate, what I want to talk about tonight, and it's always a good one to dive into at this stage of the season, is the coaches that are under the most pressure. And for me, there's a few, and some of them might surprise a few people. And I'll start off with the guy under pressure in my books, but still under pressure, to the guy that's probably going to be the first coach sacked. So I'll start off with Demetrio at South. Yes, I know South's the sixth on the ladder with a 4-4 record, but with the departure of Wayne Bennett, the scrutiny was always going to be on Demetrio and how he succeeded Bennett's success. The fact that it was Demetrio who opted to let Reynolds go, and Dane Gagai for that instance, and invest in the untested youth at the Bunnies, it's a live by the sword, die by the sword decision for him. After qualifying for last year's NRL Grand Final, for me, anything less than top 4, top 6 at the lowest for Demetrio will surely have him under pressure. Anthony Griffin, another one. He came into the season a man under pressure and somehow got a contract extension given to him. I don't know how that happened after an 8-game losing streak at the end of last season. They had 2 wins from 14 games before they finally won a game a couple of weeks ago, and the heat was really being turned up on them. The Dragons have won 3 of their past 4 games, and they look a lot better on the field. But as I said, fresh from signing his new 2-year contract, Griffin needs to find success at the Dragons, and anything less than a top 8 finish will have him under pressure to keep the job. Justin Holbrook at the Titans, he's a man under enormous pressure, swimming in quicksand at the moment. The Titans are on a 5-game losing streak with their only victories of the season coming against the Warriors in that round 2 clash that we really gifted them. They shouldn't have won. And then the Tigers in probably the ugliest game in our history, where they won that on the 80th minute. Holbrook needs to find something in his troops, and quickly the decision to let both Ash Taylor and Jamal Fogarty leave with so much inexperience in that spine, Campbell, Brimson, Sexton and Aaron Clark, and add to that the misfiring of their $1 million man, David Fafita, and the Titans look set to miss finals footy this season, and that could spell disaster for the Titans and for Justin Holbrook. I threw Warren Nathan Brown in here, 2 men that are thrown up into the equation every time this topic is brought up, but I actually think both are quite safe. They're both actively recruiting and strengthening their rosters. The Tigers have Api Coruscant and Isaiah Papali'i going there next year. We've locked up Josh Curran and AFB on long-term deals. Got a couple of guys coming next year in Nia Corey, Dylan Walker. both men are safe in my books, and Trent Barrett is probably in the same class. He'll be given time to develop his combinations while they build the roster, but I think all three of them, of those guys, have until the end of next year to work their rosters properly and make the top 8, and then they'll be under severe pressure. The two men under the most pressure for me are Ricky Stewart at the Raiders and Adam O'Brien at the Knights. The Raiders are the biggest surprise packet of the season, and not in a good way. Their roster on paper is one of the best in the NRL, especially that forward pack. The Raiders have so much inconsistency in their performances, highlighted by the result last week against us. They are struggling to score any second half points, and once their intensity drops, when, as I said before, when Papali'i and Tapane are rested, they never get it back for the remainder of the game, and it really hinders their progression forward. I don't know, maybe Ricky's been at the club too long and really had zero success. I mean, I know they made the grand final in, what was it, 2020 or 2019 or something like that? But,
2019, yeah.
2019. But they really haven't had much success with Ricky there. So maybe Raiders looked elsewhere. But Adam O'Brien, this is a man with no answers to any questions being asked. On a 7-game losing streak, O'Brien is odds on for me to be the first coach sacked this season. They lost Connor Watson and to the Roosters and Mitch Pearce to the Catalans at the beginning of the season. The Knights really did nothing to fill those voids with adequate replacements. And then the injury to Jaden Brayley has kind of just added that. But that Knights spine is awful. And Ponga is really not doing enough to lead his team. They haven't scored a try in 182 minutes of footy since the 58th minute of round 6. And their defence is the worst in the NRL, conceding 26 points a game. Adam O'Brien, mate, he's got to find something. Obviously, wins are the things that keep coaches in jobs because it is a results-based job. But, mate, at the moment, they're in a worse off position now than they were a couple of years ago when they were wooden spooners, when they didn't have a roster. They've got a roster and it's working. And that, my friend, is my hot topic for this week.
Very well said. There was a bizarre press conference that O'Brien did this week where he just looked completely out of answers. He was trying to explain his reasons for some of his team selections, and he just looked like a man without answers, just sort of scratching his head. And, yeah, it was really bizarre.
Yeah, well, they've got the sets for you.
He's out of the drill.
Yeah, then maybe get them all excited and get them to stand up a little bit.
Get a bit of a buzz back into the side, eh? Into the town.
Exactly.
Some Warriors team news from the week. So Ash Taylor, he has announced that his retirement from the game effective immediately, and that is due to that chronic hip injury that he has unfortunately had. Really sad way to see any sportsman go out being forced through injury.
Yeah, he played 116 NRL games. He played one at the Broncos and 114 at the Titans. Then he came to us. He's played one for us. He was the 2016 Rookie of the Year. He had so much promise, but for whatever reason, he never really lived up to that hype and expectation. And it could have been just the amount of pressure that was put on him once he signed that $1 million contract at the Titans. Whether he was $1 million player or not is another thing. But when you get that price tag, then you're expected to step up. And Ash will be the first one to say that he probably didn't live up to that hype. Listened to his retirement speech the other day, and he couldn't speak highly enough of the Warriors and how he embraced the culture that the Warriors are bringing in. And for a guy that's like only been there 6 months and played one game, he kind of spoke more about his time at the Warriors than he did about his time at the Titans, reflecting on his career. Mate, we wish Ash all the best in his retirement. As you said, it's always sad to see any sportsman go out through options other than their own. So we wish him well. And mate, he was really nice at the end of the game. Had a bit of chat to me, and had a bit of a chat to Christian as well after the game. So yeah, lovely fella. We wish him all the best.
Yeah, nice bloke. Yeah. The Warriors also announced the signing of Ronald Volkman, a young halfback currently in the system. He played for the North Sydney Bears in New South Wales Cup competition. The image of Matt Utai, I reckon, or is it only just me that sees that? Maybe not in that picture, but He's got the same build as well. Have you seen much of him, mate? You seen him play?
Nothing. Seen nothing. I've seen nothing except some highlight videos on YouTube, which is probably what everyone's seen. And there wasn't very many out there until he signed the other day. And there's a couple of 3 and 4 minute clips of him out there. Big unit, looks like a really big unit. Plays half. Looks like, I mean, I haven't seen him up close and personal, so I can't really comment on his size, but he does look big for a half. Kind of reminds me of Josh Schuster at Manly, that type of build. And if he can bring that kind of gameplay, that'd be great, because, you know, as we know, being good in reserve grade doesn't translate into being good in first grade. We've seen so many guys that, you know, have signed contracts over the years, not for us, I'm talking about NRL wide, who have signed contracts and just never lived up to that hype. So, yeah, as a wise man once said, mate, it's hard to say. We'll just have to wait and see. But and just one more thing on, we should mention Bailey Sirinen played his 50th NRL game on Saturday night for the Warriors against the Raiders. That one kind of slipped under the radar. There wasn't much said about it before the game, and I didn't realise until after the game and after we'd kind of said hi to him. So didn't really get a chance to congratulate him. So if Bailey's out there watching, congratulations on your 50th, mate. You know, to play one NRL game's an achievement. So, you know, when you reach these milestones, they should be celebrated.
Yeah, definitely a great achievement.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the round 19 for the clash against the Sharkies, mate. You want to take us through that team list?
Yeah, so at fullback, we got Reece Walsh. On the wings, returning from head knock, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, and Adam Pompey on the other wing. Centres, Viliami Valer, Rocco Berry, Dejan Arce and Sean Johnson in the halves. Adam Fanua-Blake, Wade Egan and Matt Lodge in the front row. Ewan Aitken and Elise Katoa coming into the run-on side on the edges, and Jazz Tavanga at lock. On the bench, great to see Merchant, Big Benny Murdoch-Masila, Bunty Afoa and Aaron Penne. And on the extended bench, we have Bailey Sirinen, Taniela Otokolo, Ed Gozzi, Junior Ratuva, Pride Pedersen, Jaden Corrigan and Jackson Frey.
Yeah, mate, as you said, forced changes for the Warriors this week. Jesse Arthurs is out with a shoulder injury. Dallin comes straight back in after a week due to those concussion protocols. Bailey Sirinen, who celebrated his 50th NRL game last week, been relegated to that extended bench. Eli Kartog starting side, and back on the interchange bench after his 1 week suspension. Valea and Berry in the centres have tough assignments this week up against the power and size of both Kai and Ramian. It's probably the reason why Brown has brought Eli Katoa into the right edge defence for Sirinen, a bigger body to help handle Talakai. Aitken on the side of Nikora and Ramian. Those is a really, really good battle. Keen to see that one. Hines and Moylan up against Johnson and Ozzy. Ozzy, a big half who will be defending on the side of the field, which makes for a good matchup. Ozzy showed some great speed on the weekend. Really troubled young Brad Schneider. So if he can get up in the face of Hines, that'll be good. Johnson up against his old club. They play a different style now under Fitzgibbon than the 3 years that Johnson was there. So having any insight into how the Sharks are going to probably really doesn't translate in this one. But if we can get an even share of possession, pleated around 75%, we're in with a good chance. If we turn the possession over like we did last week, the Sharks will do a better job of punishing us than the Raiders were able to do. It's going to be a tight one, but when you look at the teams the Sharks has beaten, the Dragons, the Knights, the Tigers, and the 12-man Bulls, and the Eels on the stroke of stroke of full-time a few weeks back, and their losses to the Raiders, Storm, and Broncos, they are very gettable in this one, and I like our chances.
Yeah, you're saying their start to season is a bit of fool's gold, eh? We definitely have to complete much better, but yeah, the Broncos have shown that they're beatable, and like last week they put a lot of pressure on Nico Hines. He came up with a few errors. So interesting to comment there from Harker-Time Rugby saying Brown big raps on Eli Katoa lately. I'm not seeing it, but glad to see him work his way. We had a similar thing. Like Brownie was so glowing of Eli Katoa's game, saying it was this game he's played for the Warriors, and mate, you got to go back to 2020.
2020, Eli Katoa was a bit on the edge for the Warriors.
Outstanding, he was.
But maybe he's learning a new role in the middle the last couple of weeks, and he's been doing the job that Brownie wants to do. But to say it's his best game in Warriors colours, I think was a massive overstatement. Because he had some mistakes in him on the weekend, Eli Katoa.
Yeah, he did, and he comes up with one or two already this year. Ball handling errors per game. So, interesting comment from Brown, but hopefully it fires up Big Ellie, and he has a huge one out there at Shark Park on Sunday. Let's take a look around at. Let's go around the grounds and take a look at some of the other games to be played.
Yep.
So Thursday night, Rabbitohs versus the Broncos. Rabbitohs. Jacko is the only addition for the Rabbitohs coming onto the interchange bench, and Davey Moa back to the interchange bench. The Broncos, Payne Haas is the big omission. He succumbed to his shoulder injury, and Corey Jensen named to replace him in the front row. This will be an interesting match. It's the being billed as the return, Adam Reynolds' return clash, obviously sitting out the round one game. It's the first time he's played against his old side. I expect that we'll probably get this one in a close game, but I think this will be quite an entertaining match to watch.
Yeah, I think Payne Haas's mission is a massive one because they need somebody to step up and do those big carries and play those long minutes that he does. And I can't see it there with any of those guys in the Broncos outfit. Mate, I got big raps on Isaiah Tass in the centres for the. He's a really big centre. Really like the way he plays, and that back row, Colomatungi, Arrow, and Murray, very good for the Rabbits. So if Cody Walker comes out and plays a good game, the Rabbits will get it. If it's an Adam Reynolds type affair, then the Broncos. But I'm going to tip the Rabbits, and I think you're right. I think it'll be close. I'll tip them in a close one. The first game on Friday night, the Raiders hosting the Bulldogs. For the Raiders, Jared Croker, named for his first game back at 2022. If Ricky had picked him last week, the Raiders scored because he does like to score a try against the Warriors, old Jared Croker.
In batches as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. Interestingly, Shance Nickel-Kluxter, who sat the whole game on the bench on the weekend, he's named at fullback. Jordan Rapana moving back to the wing. Xavier Savage and Semi Valamai both out. Elliot Whitehead returns from injury, and Adam Elliott named at hooker. He was great for them at hooker weekend. For the Dogs, Brett turns on the wing with Jaden Ockenbaugh dropped back to the extended bench. Joshy Jackson returns from COVID, and Max King moving back to the bench. This is a harder game to pick than I thought it would be because of how the Raiders are playing and how well the Dogs fought against the Roosters. But I didn't watch the Roosters-Dogs game in the entirety. We caught the last few minutes, so we don't really. I don't know how that game went. So I'm going to stick with. I'm going to pick the Raiders in a close one.
Yeah, I tend to think that the Raiders will have just a little bit too much for the Bulldogs. I know that they played well last week, but you're looking at the Raiders team, like they just need to click, and they'll be back. And saying during the week that Jared Croker just being back in the squad has been a big boost for them. So it might be a lucky omen. I expect they'll win fairly comfortably.
Actually, Ruben makes a good point that Whiten is a massive out for the Raiders. I did overlook that with Matt Frawley in there. So, yeah, an inexperienced half pairing there for the Raiders, but they've got so much experience around them still. And I think, I'll stick with the Raiders. Yeah.
Game on Friday night, the local derby, Panthers versus Eels. Panthers, they named an unchanged lineup. To'o, he's been named on the extended bench. For the Eels, Dylan Brown, he's been named back in the halves. And Daddy's boy Jacob Arthur relegated to the extended bench. Tom Opachich in the centres. So they're finally getting some outside backs back into the fold. I think the Panthers will continue on their merry way, and I expect them to have a fairly big win here. It's at home.
Yeah, they're at home. They don't play two bad games in a row. They played a bad game and still got the 2 points. I reckon that they're going to punish Parramatta this week. I don't think it'll be close. I think there'll be a few points in this one. Panthers will just grind and grind and grind until the holes appear, and at least 12. Should be. Panthers in
a canter.
Big win. On Super Saturday, this game Super Saturday, the Seagulls up against the West Tigers. Some big changes for the Seagulls. Tommy Turbo returns from injury. He's named fullback. Ruben Garrick moves to the wing. Jason Saab and Morgan Harper are both out for about 3 weeks. Not Morgan Harper. Brad Parker, sorry. Hank Scorpio out for a few weeks. Ben Vojovic has been named in the centres with Tolatau Kula. So it's the first time that the 3 Trebojevic brothers have been named in the run-on side for Manly. So a bit of history there for the Manly Warringah Seagulls. The big in for, in my books, is Olika Artu returning from suspension in the back row, and Josh A named on the bench. For the Tigers, they've named Asu Kapawa back on the wing for David Nofaluma. Luciano Leilua is replaced in the back row by Alex Seafarth. He's succumbed to his ankle injury. Stefano Utakamand on the bench, coming back from injury, and Tyrone Peachy named on the bench as well. Mate, I reckon the Sea Eagles, Four Pines Stadium or whatever they call it down there now, and with Tommy Turbo back, I think they'll put some points on the Tigers in this one.
I tend to agree. I think the Eagles will be strong, and Tommy Turbo coming back in. I always say to my mate, as a Tigers fan, like you have bad luck with returning players. Remember back in the day when Brett Stewart, he returned from his ban against the Tigers and scored like a hat trick. So I was kind of reminding him of that this week. Tommy Turbo's back. So we shall see, but I expect a big Sea Eagles win there. Roosters versus the Titans. The Roosters, Daniel Tupou, he returns from Kevin Nagama returns to the extended interchange bench. And for the Titans, David, he's the big out, and Kevin Proctor named in the back row. Herman Sasa is his return on the interchange bench. Although we have just said that the Roosters have not been best, I expect them to have way too much for the Titans and to win very comfortably here.
Yes.
12, 14, something like that.
14, 16, 20.
22, the 23.
Yeah. Look, Tino, Mo Fodawaker and Greg Mars, who have been great for the Titans, I think, but it takes more than 3 players. And the Roosters, with just so much attacking the park, I think they'll just be way too good. Poor old Titans to go, 7 in a row? Would that be 7 losses?
Yeah.
The last game on Sunday, up at Cowboys Stadium up there. Cowboys taking on the Knights. Cowboys have named an unchanged lineup for this one. Hamaso Tabuai-Fida is named on the bench. Good-looking bench. Heelan, Lukey, Cohen S, Griffin Neen. Up against Hapless Knights. Inari Tuala's moved to the centres for Dane Gagai. Nick Young, the Predator, returns on the wing. Sex Toy and Phoenix Crossland are the new halves pairing. And Jack Johns named on the interchange bench. I think they're hoping that a Johns can make a difference. I really think they need Joey in this one. I think the Cowboys are just going to continue on their winning way, and they're playing. You got a team playing with a lot of confidence up against a team playing with zero confidence. So I think it will be a big win by the Cowboys.
Call me crazy, but I expect that this one will be a bit closer than what everyone thinks. I think the Cowboys will win. The Knights will come out with a little bit of fire and brimstone. I think they'll be in it for a while, but the Cowboys will prevail. But I'm just thinking, like, if this was warring up against a team like that, it never unfolds the way that we planned. And I think we're a very similar team to the Cowboys at the moment. So it'll be close. But I expect the Cowboys to get away in a close one.
I don't think they are a similar team. And I keep back to the fact that we struggle to score more than 3 tries. So we've only scored 4 tries in one game this year, all other games that we've played, it's all 3. So,
well, they've got us in the try scoring department.
Yeah, I just think they're done a lot better footy. I think they're just going to put a massive score on the Knights. It's going to be.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah,
heartbreak for the Knights, I'd
we'll
say.
See. Yeah.
Next game, mate, on Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. We've got Storm versus the Dragons, and the Storm full strength Storm side. With Tepai Mariah, the only change, Tyron Wishart coming onto the bench. The Dragons, Jack Bird returns from injury, named at 6. Talatai Amon returns from the interchange bench. Jaden Sullivan pushed back to the extended bench. We've been saying the Dragons have been good, but this is where it ends. By a lot. 30.
Can they get another 50-point scoreline, do you think?
Yes, I think they can.
Okay, I agree with you. I think they can too. I just think they're on a roll, and it's going to be great to see. Hoping Penrith put a score on Parramatta, because Penrith playing good and the Storm playing good going into Magic Round, the last game on Saturday. That's going to be a cracking game of footy next week.
Yeah, that'd be a great one, eh? What a way to finish the day 2.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I think it's going to be a big score from the Storm in the last game. Strangely enough, the Warriors, the Channel 9 game against the Sharks.
Blue Moon on Sunday.
Shark Park. So the Sharks, they welcome back Finucane, which pushes Cameron McInnes back to the interchange bench. And for the Warriors, we went through their changes. Dallin straight back in. Aaron Penne returns on the bench. Ben Murdoch-Masila named, and Eli Qatar in the back row for Bailey Sirenen. Mate, I'm sticking with the. I think if we can learn from our game last week, and we can play a better style of footy and actually hold on to the ball, 75% completion rate and an even share of possession, I think we can get the Sharks. I think the Sharks are like an enigma where, the teams that they've beaten, they haven't beaten anyone real special. Shark Park isn't a good ground for us. No, but it is as well. We've had some good wins down there. So I'm gonna Warriors by 4.
Yeah, our recent record against the Sharks has not been good at all. But yeah, I'm with you. I think there's something in this team. Ozzy with his second game with the side could just spark something. Yeah, I'm just by 4 as well. A very nervous 4-point win, of course, but yeah, it's never any other way, is it?
No. No, it's not.
All right, guys, don't forget our live shows coming up. So upcoming live chats and events in 2022. So every Wednesday, our Warriors review. And next week, we'll be reviewing round 9. And, of course, we're going to continue to make those connections with the former players and bring you some more of those interviews that you will enjoy. So coming soon, watch this space. Chats with Robbie Mears, Tony Martin, and Richard Villasanti. We're just working out some of these guys, and as soon as we know, we'll keep you guys posted. So keep an eye out now, Facebook and social for that, and for any fan pre-game meetups that we have. So, guys, obviously at Redcliffe, pre-game meetups will be at the Dolphins Leagues Club. Unfortunately, we can't book us at the area, but we can meet out the back in the sports bar. Great atmosphere in there, and a great place to have a beer before and after the game. Round 10, Magic Round, the big one that we've all been looking for. As Campo said earlier, fan meetup at Lord Alfred Hotel at 12 p.m, Saturday, 14th of May. Very special guests, Warrior 76, Mark Tukey, Warrior 86, Kevin Campion, and Warrior 127, Grant Ravelli will all be there. So that always a great event at the Lord Alfred for Magic Round, so don't miss out on that one.
Also hoping that Warrior 96, PJ Marsh, can join us for that one as well. He might be around that weekend. Yep. Mate, that's going to be a great afternoon at the Lord Alfred. Meet up midday, finish up there at about 2:15, and then walk across to find our seats for a great day of footy. Kicked off the Warriors versus the Rabbitohs. And just quickly, we're going to be releasing the next halftone hero shirts. This one honouring Warrior 238, current Warrior Josh Curran. So keep an eye on our posts because they'll be coming out soon in a pre-sale event. So you'll be able to get yourself a bit of Roo and Hammer merchandise honouring one of our best players of the club this season in Joshy Curran.
Yeah, any merchandise purchase, it all goes to help us with what we do. So you'll be, by buying some merchandise, you're supporting Roo and Hammer. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And talking about supporting Roo and Hammer, you can head across to our Patreon, our membership subscription support platform that enables you, our followers, to show your support of us and the content we provide by signing up for the monthly subscription. We'll be unlocking some more platforms soon. Actually, Nigel Phillips, we've got some caps now in stock, so we'll release those as well. Limited number, but we'll put them in the post as well if anyone wants to buy some Roo and Hammer caps.
Yeah, definitely. Got a few of those there in stock. So you can head to our Patreon page and you can show your support and subscribe to our bronze tier. That's at lowest amount possible. That's just $3 a month, which is next to nothing. So we've partnered with Tory Print and we're going to produce a range of merchandise that will be available soon, and that will be members-only merchandise. So we're looking at our options and we're going to be releasing what we're going to call our supporter packages. So you can get on board and help support us with the show, us at Roo and Hammer, to keep bringing you guys all the content that we have, and just helps with some of the costs. And we will be bringing out some supporter packages very soon. We're just working out the costs and everything involved, but yeah, keep posted. We'll post that on the social media. Get it there, sorry. So keep your eyes on social media, and we'll be announcing that very shortly.
Absolutely. We just want to thank those that have subscribed to our Patreon so far: Daniel Delore, Peregrine Falconer, Sean Kurzweil, Fabian Moroa, Stevie Williams, Christian Catley, Alf Tuolave, TK Harris, Ted Clark, Inamete, Lisa Marie Bateman, Ken Wills, Nigel Phillips, Kane Fraser, Jermaine Downs, Malcolm Earnshaw, Dennis Danzo, and Siala Afamasunga. We thank you guys very much and appreciate support. Yeah, we can sign a cap for you, mate. No dramas.
Too easy.
Why you'd want ours, I don't know. Yeah.
Don't think that goes for too much on eBay, but anyway.
No.
Yes, thanks again to all our Patreon legends. Salute. Don't forget, if you do miss any of our live shows, you can catch up on our Facebook page. We can go to our video section on our YouTube channel as well to catch up on everything there. The easiest way to find anything that we do is to head to our link tree. Links on the screen now, which has direct links to all of our live shows, interviews, any other content, special presentations that we've done. Don't forget to hit subscribe on our YouTube channel so you never miss any of our streamed content. Doesn't cost a thing, And there will be a video coming very soon about 1996 and a game against the Gold Coast Chargers, if anyone can remember them.
Roo remembers. Roo can remember.
Roo remembers everything, including Captain Chuck Spandex.
Yes. And just a reminder, if you're a podcast fan, you can catch all our episodes on podcast platforms. I do apologize. Last week's show is not available as a podcast, only because we didn't go to Facebook, couldn't get the video link from YouTube to save it back into the podcast format. A bit of a runaround with that. So unfortunately, don't have that one, which is probably not a bad thing considering the game. But you can make sure you go to our podcast platforms: Spotify, Google, Apple, Breaker, Radio Direct. You can listen to us pretty much on a Thursday morning. And please head to our Roo and Hammer Instagram page where we upload content daily to keep our followers informed of our upcoming events, Warriors news, player movements, and all other Warriors-related content.
Well, that's a wrap for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for everyone who's contributed to the conversation tonight on YouTube. Yep.
Before we go, just quickly, mate, because we forgot to put it in the rundown because we do the rundown before it was announced today, but what's your thoughts on the Cody Nikorima situation?
Yeah, of course. So I was just reading an article before that he's already done a medical and everything's been agreed to. So it looks like Cody is heading to the Rabbitohs. Doesn't look like there's any clause in place to prevent him from playing against us. So more than likely he will Rabbitohs against us in Magic Round. Look, it's interesting as though Taylor has just announced his retirement, and we have the injury to CHT. With Ozzy and Johnson in the halves, he's probably not going to get a look in. And so, I mean, to be fair, he hasn't played his best footy this year. He hasn't really looked that interested at times. So maybe it's just better for him to move on and have a fresh start somewhere else.
I found the comment interesting when he said that it was the Warriors announcing the signing of Ronald Volkman that kind of made him realise that there was no place for him at the Warriors, and so it was time for him to look for something else. But Volkman's signed for next season, and Cody's not under contract next season, and Cody's made it – he had a player option in his favour for this season. He made it very clear he didn't want to go back to New Zealand. So the signing of Volkman really has no issue or indication on – no bearing, that's the word I'm looking for, on Cody's decision. I think the fact that they've brought Ozzy down from North Queensland was probably the straw that broke the camel's back in that thing. And as you said, look, nothing against Cody personally. Always found him to be quite entertaining when we chat to him and quite engaging. But on the field, he has really not produced anything of note for us this season. And good luck to him. I reached out to our friend at Channel 7 Queensland, Katie Brown. She was the one that broke the news up there that he was talking to the Rabbitohs, and I needed the reason we haven't done a post on it was I wanted clarification that it wasn't just all talk, that it was actually a signed contract. And she said at even 5 o'clock when I spoke to the Savo that nothing official as yet. And then the story broke that he'd had his medical. So assuming he's done the medical and that, you'd have to think it's a foregone conclusion now. Obviously can't play for the Rabbits this weekend to be named, but you can guarantee he'll be on that extended bench for the Rabbits on Magic Round. And he'll be there. He'll be there. Guarantee it. But yeah, congratulate. We wish Cody all the best. We thank him for his time at the Warriors, and this season aside, he did have some really good games for the Warriors in his, what did he have, 3 seasons at the Warriors? 19, 20, 21, 24 season.
Midway through team.
Yeah. We wish him all the best, as we do with every player that's played for the Warriors. And hopefully his NRL
on the jersey. Yep. And we will honour all of our players past, present, and even those departing. So all the best, Cody. Go well, just not Magic Round, and not on the Sunshine Coast either.
Yeah, he kind of did the same thing when he came to us. He came to us mid-season. I think his first game was against the Broncos, wasn't it?
His first game was Buncorp. He left the Broncos, came over to New Zealand. No, it was Magic Round against the Dragons. So that was his debut. And then something like 2 weeks later, he played against the Broncos again. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember after Magic Round, we played the Panthers and we beat them because I was at that game at Penrith, a rarity. And we were celebrating him because he was the only undefeated Warrior in the squad because we'd won 2 from 2.
Yeah. Sounds right. Yeah. So.
Oh, also too, just speaking of Magic Round, what's your? I know we're just rambling on a little bit here, but trying to get everything out while it's in the top of my head. What's your thoughts on the Dolphins being given a definite that they're going to be part of round next year, a guaranteed spot, which means there is going to be one team that misses out. And me being the conspiracy theorist that I am, I'm thinking the Warriors are definitely the team that's going to miss out on Magic Round next year. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I was kind of sitting there going, well, it kind of makes sense that they'll target us as the team that doesn't play. A few people have pointed out, well, everything the Warriors have done for the game, they probably deserve a spot in the Magic Round, but I can easily see us being omitted from that. I was talking to Mark Roberts during the week, and he came up with a point: whoever finishes last on the table should miss out.
Yeah, Anthony Peaks just said the same
Anthony
thing.
Peaks just said that too. Yeah.
Yeah, wooden spooner. And I said that to Rob today, Ruben. There should be a Magic round in New Zealand. Even if they still do the one at Suncorp, there should be another one at either Mount Smart, or if Mount Smart's not big enough capacity, Eden Park. In New Zealand, for a Magic round where all teams can go over there and, you know, basically thank the Warriors for the 3 seasons that they've spent away from home. But we all know that won't happen.
No, I can't see that happening, mate. It will be interesting to see who does get the Uncle Chop for Magic rounds. So, yeah, it's hard to say, you know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Harker Time says, give Dolphins Anzac Day in Melbourne and we'll take Anzac Day in New Zealand against the Titans. Well, there's another one. So a team percent on Anzac round. And that's where next year's competition is going to be advantageous for some and not so advantageous for other, because there's going to be 5 teams that'll get 2 buys, because having 17 teams, it's not, you know, a 39 team or 38 team week competition. So it's not a true home and away series. We see now that you play 5 teams twice. So there's going to be, you know, 5 or 6 teams next year that are going to get a double bye. How does that work? Does the second bye, do they not get points? Does no one get points for byes next year? You know, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. And I can guarantee we won't be one of the teams that gets 2 byes either. But you'd have to assume that a team that gets 2 byes will be the team at Magic Round. So then again, maybe we do get 2 byes next year.
Watch this space. I guess we'll find out soon enough when the draw comes out, won't we? Probably end of when's it come out? Usually around November or something like that. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to throw those at you before we signed off, mate. Get your feelings on those.
Too easy. No worries.
All right, guys.
Thanks everyone for joining us.
Absolutely, and we'll see you all next week. And if you can get out to the game at the Shark Park this weekend, make sure you do. I think there's no away supporters bay. I think the only place to buy tickets now is general admission on the hill. I know Richie from Warrior Nation is going to be out there, so if you see him out there, make sure you get your GA tickets and congregate around Richie. Try and get all supporters standing together, cheering together at the game. Be a great atmosphere down there at Shark Park. Everyone stay safe. And to all the mums out there, happy Mother's Day for Sunday. And go the Warriors.
Absolutely, go the Warriors.